Hi there, I'm Audrey Prenzel. Thanks for joining me. Today I want to talk about Chalet glass. This was produced in Canada from 1958 to 1975, and I have some sitting behind me here. This beautiful Canadian art glass actually started out by three gents who came over from Italy. There were two glass blowers and one glass cutter, and they decided to set up shop in Montreal. Now, when they did that, it was known as a French name at that time, Les Industries de Verre et Miroir. So basically talking about mirrors. And these three master glass artisans decided to get creative and bring skills they had from their own country. Now, in 1960, they changed the name to Murano, which would be understandable because Murano is an Italian word. And they decided lots of change happening in the Canadian art glass world. And what they did is they ramped up production in 1962, and they brought in a president from Toronto and a sales guy, their first sales guy from Montreal. And they brought in change. They brought in more sleek figures and more streamlined approach, a little less ornate, and this would have been in line with the mid-century modern movement at the time. This stuff is very heavy, and you've most likely seen it at flea markets or sometimes in people's living rooms. It's known as stretch glass because every single piece is unique, and every single piece was handmade. Very, very heavy. There was a fire, though, unfortunately, at the plant in Montreal. And for tax incentive reasons, it moved over to Cornwall, Ontario. And from there, it was relabeled the Chalet Glass or Chalet Glass Company. And their aim was to distribute it worldwide. And man, oh man, did they ever. It was actually given to dignitaries, visiting dignitaries at Expo 67 in Montreal. I was at Expo 67 in Montreal in my mom's tummy. If you're looking to buy one piece or even start a collection, I started buying one and I have 30 pieces so far. You want to make sure you're going to get a piece that of course you like, but make sure it is in pristine condition. Make sure there's no cracks, no chips, what we call flea bites, little tiny, tiny nips out of the glass. You want to make sure that there's been no repairs. If there's a sticker inside, that's actually okay. Some of them had stickers for labels. Usually they're in the inside. I wouldn't actually see it as a negative if there is a sticker on, even if it looks old, worn, partially torn off. Leave it on because it does add to the authenticity. I'm not going to say they were never on the outside, but it lends credence to the validity of the piece if the sticker is in the inside. Some of them were signed. And what I mean by signed is the etched. It wasn't actually a signature and it was sandblasted or etched into the bottom. This one is not signed. Many, many are not because they had the stickers. And stickers, we lose stickers over time. People peel them off. But in terms of value for a collector, you want, the most dramatic shape, the bigger the piece. They do have small little animals. I didn't have an interest in them, so I don't have any. But if that's something you like, that's totally up to you. Sometimes, you may not know this, they have uranium in them. Yeah, that's right. And guess what? Uranium is seen as a positive. Uranium from a Chalet glass collector's point of view is pretty cool, and it's safe for us as people just looking at them and touching them occasionally. This is the lamp or light that I use to test. There are smaller portable versions, but this I find pretty effective to test for uranium levels. It's interesting, though, that it was only from 1962 to 1969 that they did this, and that also would help us date a piece, because if there's uranium in it, it's going to be between those years. But they didn't tell the workers. The company chemist, one of the owners, didn't tell the workers that there was uranium in it, and they were stunned when many of the workers went to an exhibit in Cornwall in 2010 and they had one of the UV lights set up, and woo, a lot of their work was lit up. It's still allowed in China, but US and UK, they put a moratorium on civilian use of uranium back in 1963. Canada didn't do that till 1969. France didn't outlaw uranium for crafting, art, civilian use until 1980. But we put it in because it was here. In fact, Canada is still, except for Kazakhstan and Namibia, we are number 3 in the world for producing uranium. So it's a fun component of collecting Chalet glass. Uranium levels, I've read over the years, range from 2 to 25% within these pieces. So let's talk about the names for a second. So we know it's called Chalet glass. Originally it was called Murano. You'll hear Lorraine Glass, and that was a company about the same time, operating out of Montreal, the same sort of glass pieces. Giovanni was another name. That was also, of course, an Italian artisan who was here producing the art glass. Chantilly is another name that you may come across. Is actually Chalet glass, but it was, when it was distributed in Montreal, it was called Chantilly glass. That was that company name, or the name that they distributed it under. But it's not Depression glass, it's not Carnival glass, it's not lead crystal, it's not Vaseline glass. There are lots of glass names out there. So that hopefully will help clear up a little bit about the names. So I'm going to walk you through the details of some of my collection. I really like this large example of the spike and curl. You can see it starts out clear, then it goes blue, green, amber, and then these blue edges here. This is where the uranium is in this piece. This one is huge. It's 15 inches tall, and it weighs over 6 pounds. My kids got me this one once. So there's a smaller, very brilliant orange example of a spike and curl. And this one actually has the uranium in it as well. And my husband got this one for me. The uranium's in the edges. But I want to show you something. It's signed, and that's great that it's signed. But this one is actually Chalet. You can see it's been signed twice. It's kind of hard to see, but there you go. You can see the double signing. So I've not come across another piece that's been signed twice. I like the smooth lily pad almost vibe you get with this big heavy ashtray. It has a solid heavy base on it. Kind of reminds me of the lily pad. Nothing remarkable in terms of sentimentality. I just saw it and I got it. So this basket model here, and sometimes they had basket crossed, uncrossed arms, is primarily blue with a little bit of lavender trim. And this is the one that was in the video. It completely lights up. It is all uranium inside here. So this one I call Ted, my brother Ted, who some of you know, and some of you know from some of my other YouTube videos. He's been in them with me. He was with me when I got it, and he said, Audrey, call it Ted. So everybody, this is Ted. This one is a clear example. You don't see too many clear. It's got a little tiny base on it, and it's got what we call controlled bubble in it. So you see the little bubbles in there in a very specific linear pattern. I think it's cute. It's the only clear example I have, but I like it because it's small, clear, and has the controlled bubble feature in it. This is the very first piece I got. It's huge. It's 2 feet long. Now, I only paid about $30 for it from a local vendor here. It's almost 7.5 pounds. And this would be called the 6-point centerpiece. I always sort of thought if I turned it upside down and put googly eyes on it, it could be an aardvark, but I'm not going to do that. I have a couple examples of vases here. You can see, remember I said before that the stickers usually went inside. This sticker is in terrible shape, but I left it in. It's been in there this long. I'm going to keep it in there. This one's a brilliant red. Neither of them obviously, well, this one doesn't have etching on it. This one is not etched at all. In terms of value, if I had to guess, I'd say this one's probably worth a little more, the vibrant red and the dramatic shape. This one I absolutely love. It has very much an organic feel to it. And it has like a shrimp pink base, green top, as you can see. And I like that it has the 6 leaves or whatever these little pointy things are. And inside, what do you see? I kind of see a 4-leaf clover. So I really like that. This one, unbelievably, was bound for the garbage. Someone pulled it out, knew what I'm up to, knows that I saved these. And so it ended up gifted to me, and I'm thankful for that. I like this large, just plain olive green one, olive green spike and curl, and it's signed. It's just a pretty dramatic piece for my collection. These are 2 little ashtrays, very similar in shape, very heavy though. Even when you pick up these little ones, they weigh more than you think. I don't very often see them in this pretty pink. This is the only pink one I have. You can see the difference between the shrimp pink color and then this more of a, I don't know, Barbie pink. What is that? And this is a very vibrant orange ashtray, very heavy, and it is signed. So there's a little overview of some of these. I hope that's answered some questions or sparked your curiosity about what these huge, big, mainstay, chunky pieces are of glass that may have been in your living room or your parents' living room or your grandparents' living room for years and years. Chalet glass is beautiful. Collect it. If you don't want it, don't throw it out. Donate it to charity or try selling it. There's always somebody who has a great appreciation for this stuff. So that's it, folks. Thanks for tuning in once again. Have a wonderful day.